Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Trait Talking. Today's episode is focused on the latest trait that we've released into the FitnessGenes members area, which is creatine supplementation response. So today we're joined for the first time by Dr. Haran Sivapalan, and he's going to be helping us detail the research, the insights and the recommendations that accompany our latest report. So Dr. Haran, welcome to Trait Talking.
Hiya. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. So all of our users and all of our members will be familiar with your work because you've been a key part of the FitnessGenes member or the FitnessGenes team for the last 7 or 8 years. But this is the first time that they may have seen or heard from you, which is rather exciting. So would you mind just giving a brief introduction to your background and also your role here at FitnessGenes?
I'm Dr. Haran Sivapalan. I'm the current senior scientific researcher at FitnessGenes. So my background is in medicine. I originally qualified as a doctor and then kind of transitioned to FitnessGenes. So my main job is to kind of read through the medical literature, critically appraise all the studies, and then help build these kind of genetic models and lifestyle models to give our customers and clients their trait reports.
Excellent, and that's very much the focus today with today's report, which is creatine supplementation response. And creatine is something that is, very popular at the moment and has a lot of coverage in the media, and a lot of attention is going on to this because of the benefits that it presents in terms of performance, but in terms of health as well. But if we sort of take it right back, Haran, and we just assume that this may be the first time that some of our clients may be hearing about creatine. Could you just give us a real brief introduction as to what creatine is and why some people look to use it as a supplementation?
Great, yeah. So as you said, creatine, a lot of people might have heard of it as a supplement. So you might actually think it's a synthetic molecule, but actually creatine is a naturally occurring amino acid which is found in our body. So about 95% of our body's creatine stores are stored in our muscles. And it's used there as a kind of fuel source for highly intense, short duration activities. So basically, we have a muscle energy system called the phosphagen energy system. And that takes a fuel called phosphocreatine, and that uses to generate ATP, which is a kind of chemical energy currency used by our muscles. So that phosphocreatine fuel is used for things such as heavy weightlifting or sprinting, basically short duration activities under 10 to 30 seconds, and which are highly intense. So creatine is a kind of, like I said, it's an amino acid, and that's converted into phosphocreatine, which is this fuel source for that kind of short duration, high intensity activity. Now, you mentioned creatine supplementation. So yes, creatine supplements, which is in the form of creatine monohydrate normally, you can take that as a powder or as a tablet. And basically, when people take that, that increases their muscle stores of this phosphocreatine fuel, so they can more effectively generate ATP for these kind of short duration, high intensity activities. Now, in terms of the kind of evidence base behind creatine supplements, there's quite a lot of evidence that because it allows you to, because it helps this phosphagen energy system, it allows you to work out at a much higher intensity than you would otherwise. So for instance, in studies of weightlifters, for instance, they can do each rep at a higher percentage of their 1 rep max. Or if you're sprinting, you can sprint at a much higher intensity. And then when you're resting in between reps or sets, your muscles more effectively regenerate ATP, so you can go harder again on your next rep.
Okay, so it's a supplement that can help enhance or support performance.
Exactly, yeah. So, however, its benefits aren't restricted to that. So, if you work out at higher intensity for all your workouts over time, what happens is your body more effectively makes kind of training adaptations, right? So actually, if you look at really good, well-conducted studies and from meta-analyses, which combine lots of study findings together, they found that people who take creatine monohydrate supplements have greater strength gains, greater muscle gains in muscle size or hypertrophy. they gain more lean muscle mass, they have better exercise performance, including a better repeated sprint ability. So yeah, it has lots of benefits over time by facilitating kind of higher intensity workouts.
So, okay, so it sounds as though creatine is really tailored for people who are doing a lot of resistance training. And I've always made that association between creatine and sort of like bodybuilders or weightlifters. But are there other specific populations that creatine is beneficial for?
Yeah, that's a good question. So creatine, fair enough, it helps this phosphagen energy system, which is used in the kind of short, high intensity duration activities. But all the evidence shows that creatine is beneficial for kind of everybody, essentially, and across all stages of your lifespan. So you mentioned kind of weightlifting and powerlifting, but also sports involving intermittent sprinting or intermittent high intensity activities such as football or volleyball, etc. There's lots of evidence that taking creatine can enhance performance in those kind of sports. Outside of weightlifting and powerlifting, power type sports, if you're, for instance, just looking to lose weight, again, there's good evidence that taking creatine supplements alongside normal exercises, resistance training and endurance training, it enhances lean body composition and lean gains in muscle mass. So because of that, you can lose more fat and you retain more muscle. And then that has lots of other kind of benefits in terms of better blood sugar control, better insulin sensitivity, lower risk of heart disease. So it's important for people looking to lose weight, would also strongly consider taking creatine. And then another group, often kind of overlooked in the fitness industry, is people who are kind of slightly older. So as you get older, you lose muscle mass, and there's a process of age-related loss of muscle, which we call sarcopenia. Now, studies show that older people who take creatine can kind of slow down that decline in muscle loss and retain more muscle as they get older, and that has lots of benefits in terms of mobility, just overall health, quality of life, etc.
Okay, so this is a supplement that can benefit people who are looking to build muscle, people who are looking to lose weight, and sort of the carryover benefits or the health benefits of that, but also people who are looking to extend their health span as well by mitigating things like sarcopenia.
Correct.
Okay, excellent. So one of the things I do understand about creatine is there's this loading phase, and I saw that we've included that in the insights and the recommendations for this report. And that's not something that you typically see with supplementation. Usually it's, if it's like omega-3, you just start taking, the recommended dosage. So what's the biological purpose of the loading stage?
So something I should mention is that creatine, you can get creatine from your diet as well, right? So seafood and red meat in particular have lots of creatine because those animals have muscles and there's creatine in those muscles. So you can get creatine from your diet. However, on a normal diet, the kind of creatine you get, your muscle stores are only about 60 to 80% saturated with creatine, right? So, and if you want to kind of maximize that and get it up to 100%, studies show that you need to kind of quickly kind of load up the amount of creatine you take. So the actual optimal dosing protocol, which has been shown in studies, is that you take about 5 grams of creatine monohydrate 4 times daily for a period of 5 to 7 days. So that's a kind of roundabout figure. If you're a kind of elite athlete or you have a lot of muscle mass, it might be slightly more than that. The kind of recommendations are about 0.3 grams to about 0.8 grams of creatine per kilogram of body weight per day for 5 to 7 days. So when you do that, kind of higher dosage of creatine, your muscles become quickly saturated with creatine up to 100%. So that's the kind of rationale behind that dosing phase. And then once you've loaded up and you've got 100% saturation, to maintain it at those high levels of saturation, you take a maintenance dose, which is about 3 to 5 grams per day. So lower, about 25% of the kind of loading phase, and that will help keep your muscles stores of creatine topped up.
Okay, great. And that's been included in the recommendations as well. So our clients will be able to follow that if they're looking to supplement with creatine.
Correct.
Yeah. So you mentioned that there's a wide variety of people that would benefit from creatine supplementation, whether that's for sporting performance, weight loss, aging. But from the report that I've read today, it seems that particular genotypes have varying response to creatine supplementation. So what have you and the science team found within the research?
There's been a small randomized control trial in military recruits from Brazil, and what they found, I'll just describe the trial. So they gave half the people 20 grams of creatine monohydrate powder per day for 7 days, and they gave the other half a placebo. And they kind of, at baseline, they did various kind of exercise tests, and then after the 7 days, they retested them. And what they found is in the group taking creatine, people carrying 1 or 2 copies of an A variant of a gene called MILK1, so myosin light chain kinase 1, which is an enzyme involved in muscle contraction. So people with 1 or 2 copies of the A variant of that gene seem to have much sort of greater or significantly greater increases in their counter movement jump height, which is a kind of measure of your leg strength, I suppose, and counter movement jump power, which is a kind of indicator of your muscle power. So it's potentially, it's a very, I would caveat this, it's a small trial, but it seems to be that people carrying 1 or 2 copies of this A variant seem to have an enhanced response to creatine.
Okay, so this is a single gene we're looking at here, MYLK1, and we're looking for a seemingly beneficial variant, that A variant. Is there any difference between carrying a single copy and 2 copies of that A variant? You said that both seem to have an increased response to creatine.
Yeah, correct. So in this randomized control trial, there didn't seem to be any difference between carrying 1 or 2 copies of the A variant. However, if you kind of dig further into the literature, there was another study which showed that people carrying 2 copies of the A variant had kind of greater levels of muscle damage following what's called eccentric muscle contractions. So, like for instance, if that's your bicep and you're kind of resisting as it goes down, those muscle fibers are contracting while the muscle is lengthening. So a study of that showed that people with 2 copies of the A variant had greater levels of muscle damage following kind of unaccustomed eccentric exercise.
Okay, so not sort of beneficial sort of mechanical stress, but actual muscle damage.
Well, yeah, so, the way you phrase that is kind of this is quite difficult. So I suppose, yes, eccentric muscle. When you do eccentric muscle workouts, you will cause a bit of damage, but if you keep doing that, the amount of damage lessens over time, and actually the kind of that damage or that stress you're causing to your muscles, your body adapts afterwards, and that's how you become stronger. So it's more, for instance, I suppose in terms of practical terms, if you have 2 copies of the A variant and you do eccentric exercise which you've never done before, you might notice that, it took me longer to recover after that. But for everyone doing eccentric exercise, there's something called a repeat bout phenomenon. So yeah, the more you do it, the less kind of inflammatory response and muscle damage you cause.
Okay, so just going back to the MYLK1 genotypes and these 3 varying genotypes that we've found, how are the fitness genes, or how is the fitness genes population divided between these 3 genotypes? How many people carry these single or double A variants?
Yeah, so looking at our data set, so about 68% don't carry any copies of the A variant, so they would be classified as average responders. About 29% carry 1 copy of the A variant, so they are enhanced responders, and about 3% carry 2 copies of the A variant, and they will also be classified as enhanced responders to creatine.
Okay, so the way that you describe that, when we're looking at this gene and this result, it's not that we're saying that people may have a negative response to creatine or a non-response to creatine, but there are certain genotypes that may have an increased response, and therefore they may have additional benefits or see additional improvements in taking creatine supplementation.
Correct. So if you look at the kind of wider studies, so actually creatine monohydrate is arguably one of the best studied nutritional supplements out there. There's lots of clinical trials and meta-analytical data, and they all tend to show that for the vast majority of people, taking creatine alongside exercise will increase gains in muscle strength, muscle size, and it will enhance exercise performance. So most people stand to benefit from taking creatine. So and however, those people with the A variant, based on this one small study, and it's only one gene variant we're looking at the moment, they might have enhanced response to creatine.
Okay, so if a member finds out that they've got this normal response, so they don't carry this A variant, what are the types of recommendations they can follow to hopefully sort of maximise the benefits of creatine supplementation?
Yeah, so I suppose the first one is, if you're not taking creatine, consider taking creatine alongside your workouts. And we've talked about the kind of optimal loading dose protocol. So I would adhere to that and then continue taking creatine. And then if you do take creatine, try to take it with, for instance, carbohydrate or protein. Don't just take the powder or the tablet on its own, because that enhances the absorption, and that will help you increase your exercise performance to get the most from your workouts.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I would say that's arguably the most important kind of thing.
And have we found any associations between sort of creatine and endurance performance? I know this is going a little bit off topic and isn't the focus of today's report, but is there anything that you're aware of, and is it something that sort of endurance performance athletes should be considering as well?
Yes, I mean, there is some evidence that it kind of helps with recovery from exercise. Also, I mean, there is also some evidence that it helps in, for instance, marathon runners and long distance endurance athletes, that it helps with like kind of heat tolerance, actually, because creatine absorbs water with it and into your muscles. So there is some evidence that keeps you better hydrated. However, I would the main benefits tend to be in this kind of short duration, high intensity activities, because that's the main way creatine is working, by enhancing your kind of phosphagen energy system.
Great. And do you know your own personal result?
At the moment, I don't, but I'll definitely go and look it up.
We'll find out alongside all the rest of the FitnessGenes members.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, if you do already have FitnessGenes results and you're watching this, your creatine supplementation response report is now live within the FitnessGenes members area. If you don't have your FitnessGenes results, Haran, where can people go to purchase a FitnessGenes DNA analysis test?
Yeah, if you go to FitnessGenes.com and you follow the links there, and yeah.
Well delivered. Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Haran. It was great to have you on, and we look forward to having you back again soon.
Cool, pleasure. Thank you.